What up, dude?
What's up, Monster? How you doing?
Man, all is good.
How was your marathon?
Bro, I finished, and my first one ever. So it was crazy because I didn't look into anything other than I signed up to a marathon.
Right.
And so I get there, and it's literally in the middle of mother effing nowhere, Texas, Mexico border. I knew it was at 7 a.m. I found out the night before it was a 45-minute drive from the nearest where we were staying, which was the nearest town.
Okay.
I got to go through border security to get to it, which was cool. And then we get there at like 6:20 in the morning. It's still dark out. It's cold as shit in the desert, which sounds weird.
Yeah.
And whatever. It starts at 7. And I'm like, are we running on that stuff? And bro, it was like I don't know if you saw any of the actual video, but dude, it was like trail running nightmare full of rocks and no flat grade. Like, even it wasn't real steep, but what you run on had like dips and rocks, and dude, it was brutal for any run, much less a damn marathon.
Yeah.
So 4 laps, 6.5 miles each. And when I got there, it was probably 50 and chilly. And by the time I was done, it was like 7 hours later with, you stop to fuel and take a leak and whatever. Yeah. I think I was walking combo and hiking for like 6.5. By the time I was done, it was like 80 and sunny.
Yeah.
And I did not once think to bring sunscreen to the desert.
Yeah.
Bro, my head, the thing that hurts the most, like
sunburn.
Sunburn, dude. It hurts worse. Like the pain from the run is gone. Yeah. The sunburn is lingering. So like the back of my head is like on fire, bro.
Yeah. You didn't have a hat?
I do now. I don't know.
Yeah. I don't mean you don't own a hat. You didn't even bring a hat.
I don't know. I threw it on upstairs for some reason and whatever.
Sure.
I had nothing to do with sunburn. I don't know why I threw it on.
Yeah, you felt cool.
Yeah, I did feel cool, especially with it backwards.
I thought you looked cool when you got on and you had that hat on backwards.
I felt extra.
He looks like a tough guy.
It's like into the storm.
So
yeah, so I did. I finished. It was definitely harder physically than I thought it was going to be going into it. And I'm glad I didn't research it a ton, to be honest, because I would have overthought it and not signed up to it. Had I known the terrain I was going into, I would have thought I couldn't do it.
Right.
So I'm kind of glad my personality, because everyone was asking me questions the last couple months, like where it's at, what it's like, the incline, this, that. And I'm like, I don't know. They're like, you didn't look? I'm like, nah, I just signed up. I signed up. So I learned this. I was looking at it because everyone thinks I'm a little nuts, which I agree with them. I signed up, I think like October 22nd. So I had 4 months in like a week, 4.5 months to prep. And the most I've ever run in my life was a 5K. Right. And I've only done like 3 of them ever. 4, maybe 3 or 4. I don't know.
Right.
So I had no business technically running a marathon. And again, I use run lightly because I did not run for 26 miles. I jog, walk, combo, whatever. I just finished.
Well, I'm proud of you.
Yeah, but it was cool, dude. It was a cool experience. And it was definitely harder physically than I thought it was going to be because I expected just to run on a road.
Right.
But dude, it was easier mentally than I thought. Like I thought I was gonna like really want to quit the entire time. Like after because the most I'd ever done in the training even was 15 miles.
Right.
So I'd never even during training done more than that. And I was wore out after 15. But dude, there was zero chance I was leaving that place not finishing. And then I found out at the end.
I don't want to hear and say that you didn't finish.
The hell no, dude. There was no chance that was happening. Yeah. So I finished, and then I found out a buddy of mine who does runs. He does crazy shit, like 200-mile bike rides uphill and shit, and like nutty stuff.
Right.
He texted me after. Apparently, you can plug in like the bib number I got and see. Dude, for my age, 40 to 49, I came in third place.
Nice.
And I finished 10th in the whole thing.
No kidding.
Yeah, I was like, no shit. I hope there were more than 10 people.
You're badass, man. I'm very impressed. I'm very proud of you.
I was like, shit. So yeah, I did pretty good, I think.
You did.
Yeah.
You did better than me.
Amen. I did better than
the mountain climb thing. When is that?
Yeah, so that starts August. I have I looked at the app I use, the little training app I use. I have 24 weeks for that to climb, and I that's more intense because it's probably 3 times the length of the amount of time it'll take to finish it.
Right.
You have 36 hours. I think people finish it quick. I think the quick ones finish it in like 15 hour, 12, 15 hours, something like crazy like that. So I have to research it a little because I haven't really looked into that yet either. But my guess is, dude, I'm going to be climbing for like 20 plus hours.
Right.
And you have 36 hours to finish it.
And not at sea level.
No.
Right.
It's like, I want to say it's like 9,000, some obnoxious number of feet in the air. And I think it's like 3 or 4 miles distance. And I got to do it, I think 9, I'm pretty sure it's 9 times. So that's August, mid-August. So that's the next.
Well, by the 9th time, you'll really know your way up it. I said by the 9th time, you'll really know your way up it.
I will definitely know my way. So yeah, man, I just one step at a time, just get it done. It is what it is. And I feel fucking great about it. I felt really good finishing. I was like, holy crap. So yeah.
Well, that's awesome, dude. Congratulations. I'm happy for you. I'm proud of you. I'm glad I didn't do that. I actually watched TV on Sunday. I never do.
You know what's funny is I've done it I did it for the marathon and the mountain thing. I text people I'm in like close with or friends or I'm in like a little couple workout chats, like text groups or whatever.
Yeah.
And I put both of them in there. Not one fucking person joined me at either one of them.
No.
I'm like, shit. If someone wants to come do something crazy.
Like, you need tougher text chats, man.
Any what?
You need text chats with tougher people.
I mean, they do pretty badass stuff, but fuck.
Well, I'm not in that text chat and I don't want to be.
Yeah. Yeah. One of the dudes did he did a marathon a couple weeks prior. The day I did the 15 training, he was doing a marathon, and it only took him like 40 minutes longer to do the whole marathon than it took me to do the 15.
Yeah.
But he's also 28 and fucking jacked.
Yeah.
So I feel good about my time.
I enjoyed it a lot more at 28 and jacked.
Yeah.
Than at 49 and looks pretty good for 49.
Yeah.
That's the way I describe my body. I'm 49 and look pretty damn good for 49.
Yeah, if you put me in front of a bunch of, I'll be 47.
At 28.
Yeah, in 3 weeks, I'll be 47. I'm like, if you put me in a room with a bunch of 47-year-olds, I feel pretty good about myself.
Yeah, you should.
But not next to a 28-year-old.
You should feel pretty good about yourself in a room full of 28-year-olds, just not the jacked ones that are doing crazy shit.
That's true. That's
I think they're Navy SEALs.
Yeah, it's true. You know?
Well, cool.
I think it's funny. It's like I was thinking about business and just the marathon and all the questions I got, and like for the last couple months, because I put it out there that I'm doing it. Just I don't know, hold myself accountable, I guess.
Hold yourself accountable, and you were looking forward to it.
Yeah, but it's funny how much people overthink doing something.
Yeah,
and I was like looked at as weird for signing up without researching it or looking in or being prepared, or you know what I mean. And I'm like, dude, I'm just that way every day. With
if there were anything but a marathon, and I've just decided decades ago I had no interest in that. Yeah, because I know myself. But you know, that's kind of where I'm at right now too. Is like people's overthinking. Like that's the question I wanted to have a conversation with you about. Like I'm so frustrated right now with humans.
Why?
Like I'm just tired of humans. And they're,
You just want
I really,
robots?
what's that?
You just want robots?
Yeah, sure. I'm just tired of people's emotional inability to survive,
Yeah.
which sounds a lot like I'm having an emotional inability to survive.
I wasn't actually thinking that, but you are kind of right.
I see the hypocrisy in it.
Yeah.
I'm just like so tired of watching people who have so much potential.
That's that word, dude. That word kills people.
Potential?
Yes, dude. It kills people. It kills you because you see potential. Yes.
And they
It
don't,
crushes people's soul.
or people are doing great and then they get a boyfriend or then they get
Yeah.
a girlfriend and you're like, you chose this person's a moron. And what always happens is you meet in the middle, right? You know what I mean? So you have a brilliant person and a moron. They just meet in the middle.
Yeah.
And I try to focus on all the people whose lives that I've been lucky enough to be a small part of changing their life,
Yeah.
and it's like, the thing about this business is you're always starting over because somebody gets to a place where you don't need to hold their hand anymore.
Yeah. It's true.
And then you turn around and grab somebody else's hand.
Yeah.
Move them forward. And then you turn around and grab somebody else's hand and move them forward. And then you turn around and grab somebody else's hand. And I'm here 6 years almost. And I'm like, I don't want to grab another hand.
I feel your pain there. It's
Yeah.
interesting. It's hard to. I feel like if I keep doing the same thing over and over again, I haven't progressed either.
Yeah.
And then some days I feel selfish saying shit like that because I say it too, and I'm like, I don't want to do that piece anymore.
Yeah, I mean, and if I and now that I'm saying it out loud, it's really not my job anymore.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah.
It's other people's job now.
But is anybody as good at it as you are?
No, of course.
Yeah. I have a couple, thankfully, that are.
Yeah, listen, my wife is amazing, right? Like she's phenomenal.
Yeah.
But like you, right, I'm just that good at it. And then also, now that I'm having the conversation out loud instead of in my head, because I wanted to save it. I wanted to have this conversation with you because we're so similar in this way. I think what maybe the problem is that it's not my job to hold their hand anymore.
Yeah.
And so I'm not going to. So I'm a bystander watching it instead of being intimately involved. And I'm just annoyed with it.
What? Because the ones
Why am I a bystander?
Yeah. No. Why are you annoyed with it?
Yeah, I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that's the point of the conversation.
I understand it. Yeah, I mean, I understand it. What's funny is like, it sucks, bro. Building this thing. Like you hold the hand, next one, hold the next hand. I always look at it like, I don't know if I've told you this before, but when y'all came to Atlanta, remember that at the airport, they had the train and it went from wherever gate you were at and it went all the way to baggage claim. And that it just goes all day long back and forth. I feel like that's the ride I'm on. Like I'm the train and I'm going back and forth no matter what. I'm going from point A to point B no matter what.
Right.
But there's like 6 or 7 stops in between. And at every stop, what happens? Some people get off and more people get on.
Right.
Right. Every stop, a bunch of people get off the train and a bunch of people get on the train. They nearly crash into each other, but there's always this on-off game. And then it goes to the next stop. Some get on, some get off. And there's very few that stay on the entire ride.
Right.
You know what I mean? And I feel like that's this, dude.
I agree.
There's very few people I've been with this whole ride on. Actually, there's no one I've been on the entire ride on with, because even the people I started with aren't here anymore. So yeah, I think for me, it's like I learned to understand that, and I learned to just take people to their stop, and if they're ready to get off, I just see you later. Now they can get back on later if they want, I guess. I ain't necessarily mad at it. But dude, the hardest part for me, bro, was like seeing the potential. And then when people weren't coachable, Because I think that's the part is like they don't adapt, or they hit a ceiling. You know what I mean? Where they can only carry a load so far, or build a team so far, or sell so much, or whatever it is. Man, the willingness to just move on from people and watch really good people, like, for lack of a better word, drown, and me not jump in and save them. But that was hard to do that.
And that's exactly where I'm at. I'm like, guys, I'm not going to jump back in. Like,
but here's what I learned, dude. My willingness to not jump in and fucking drown with them has let me see new people I wouldn't have otherwise seen had I spent time jumping in the ocean after people all the time.
You mean like outside of that?
Yes, 100%. Dude, it's opened up opportunity. It's brought new people to me. It's created new relationships. Now, the hard part of it is a lot of those people don't necessarily like me anymore. Does that make sense? Like, so you gotta be, I know you don't give a shit. You can deal with that. But the average person watching, that's hard.
Do you?
Huh?
Do you?
I don't give a shit at all.
Okay. Yeah.
Zero.
Right. Like at the end of the day, it's like, is Jamie
I
still
did
here?
what I could to help them, and if they're not coachable, like, I just genuinely, this is not to be like a dick. Right. I don't understand the point of communicating with each other. Like, does it make sense? If you're not growing and you're not listening, why do we talk? I don't need, and that's hard for people around me. I've learned take it some kind of way.
The first people I recruited were Andrew. Andrew is still with me. Jamie is still with me. Samaria is still with me. Anthony is still with me.
I'm shocked, dude. That's impressive.
Yeah. There were 2 people in that group. Oh, and Chris is still kind of with me. I mean,
are they still growing? Each of them?
Some of them.
Yeah.
Some of them not at all.
Well, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
But so in my time hop yesterday was videos of the first training class I ever did. Yeah. Was that 4 years ago? And I'm like, holy crap, there's only 2 people in that class who aren't with me. One of them has passed away. And one of them is a realtor and still a friend of mine.
Yeah.
And it's like, the truth is, if I can do that, someone else can do that too.
Yeah. It's true. I remember looking at our group at one point. I haven't looked at it recently to see in the last couple of years to see where it's at. But when we had a lot,
Elizabeth was in that too. So yeah,
she's shit.
Yeah.
I remember thinking, like, when early building, you have your people that are helping you build, and they're recruiting with you, and they're doing, they're bringing people to meetings and doing what they got to do to kind of grow their portion. And I remember when we got to about in the ballpark of $1 million a month production, we had probably 12 managers, if you will, that were like actually doing something recruiting wise. And that's who helped me get to that $1 million a month, right? I did a certain point by myself, a few $100,000, whatever it was. And then the others, I had like 12 direct to me that were building, and we got to call it $1 million a month. And we probably had 100 agents at the time, give or take. Fast forward to when I signed with Integrity, we were doing, 2.5, 3 million a month. 2 years later, 3 years after, whatever it was. 9 of the 12 were still here physically, but not one of them had grown anymore from where they were at when we were at $1 million. Those people were still the same. It was new people that got on the train that took us to the 3 million.
That's impressive.
I was always blinded by that, because I always thought the people that I had with me at the beginning were going to be with me forever. Like, I thought we were just going to stay on the train forever together. I was kind of blinded by, like, some people just choose to get off, or it's not for them, or they can't handle the difficulties of building, or
they go to another agency, or they go start
for sure. Yep, they leave, they quit and go somewhere else.
Which makes me happy when people do that. Happy like a dad. Yeah. Not happy like, oh, thank God they're gone, but happy like a dad, like, look what my son did.
So it's been interesting. Yeah. And really the growth we've gotten to now, Dude, it's really been the same handful of people that have gone from 3 to we did, I don't know, fucking 15 million last month. It's really the same handful. So those handful for the last going on 4 years, it's really been the same core. A couple new people have stepped up. A couple, the guys they've stepped up and gone like, look what they built. Holy shit.
Yeah.
He came.
Yeah, that's incredible.
And to be honest, with zero help from me.
Yeah, that's awesome.
You know what I mean? Like they just figured it out and had help from other people in the business and the agency and the group, whatever. Right. So it's pretty wild to see some of the biggest teams now with time. Certainly, I opened the door to the agency existing under the umbrella, but dude, I didn't have to hold dude's hand at all.
Yeah.
He didn't need, you know what I mean? Which is wild to see how it develops with time. And you almost lose control.
That's not happening. I'm not doing a good job at that. So, but then again, it's only been this last couple of months that I've said, I'm not doing it. I'm not stepping back in. I'm not being.
Yeah. So someone's going to step up in your world. You know what I mean? Like I've always Mike Kilman, who really mentored me every day for God knows how many years until he retired. And we still talk some, but day in, day out, he always taught me like leadership is taken, not given. And I always tried to like bonk someone on the head with, hey, you're my next manager. Ding.
Right.
And instead of just kind of watching for people who had leadership qualities naturally, you know what I mean? Just around the office, maybe they help agents when they don't have to, when they're not direct and they're not getting it over. They're just helping the team and kind of taking that guy and going like, hey, come over here and pouring more into them. That really worked well for me because at first I tried to take everybody's words at face value because everybody said that they want to build something dope, but very few people will stick with it. And even more that stick with it won't change enough to adapt to all the different personalities that you have to learn to manage to actually grow something. That's quite the puzzle. But man, the ones that built it big, bro, I didn't have anything to do with it. Them stepping up. I helped, sure, but I didn't choose them. I didn't go like, you're my next guy. And nor did Mike do that with me. I chose it, and I chose to put myself in that. So I think for me, dude, I've learned to like really watch for different qualities and see if I can challenge people more and empower people more and, you know what I mean, make them feel like they can do something with the skills they have just on their own. That helped me, kind of the combination of watching people drown and identifying people who naturally had leadership skills. And again, maybe I can add to them if I can, and just, as you know, teaching people the shit you messed up. If they can get there a little quicker. That has always been my goal. And it's worked. I've definitely messed it up a lot, but the general concept works, and I think for me, dude, I've never known who was going to break out. People always ask. Someone asked me the other day, I bet you know how to identify a hot lead by now. And people always ask me, how do you know who's going to be the next leader in your group? I'm like, bro, I have no idea. I have no earthly idea.
I would say the two best up and coming leaders I have were two agents who freaking sucked for 2 years.
Yeah.
Like for 2 years, I'm like, that guy's still here today? It was a long weekend. I assumed he would have found a job over the weekend.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was me. I sucked ass at this for a couple of years, for sure. I just worked enough that I got by, But it took me a few years to get like really effing good.
Yeah.
Well, surprised me. I think it's pretty common, dude.
Yeah. My two people, one of them is his name's Ant, and he was in that first group, right? And for 2 years, didn't come to the office, wrote just enough for us to not pull his contract. And then about a year and a half ago, he started coming back to work. And then about 9 months ago, I was like, holy crap. And now it's like, oh, thank God this guy's here. Like we're having a bad day. Fine. He'll just walk out there and write 100K.
I love it.
And then inspire everyone else to do it too. So proud of. And another guy named Dan, who was one of those people that when he came in, I was like, why did we recruit this guy? I don't think we're being nice to him by doing this. This is a horrible thing for him. Not, it's all the same for me, but guy's badass, like pushes people, just incredible man. So
I assume you talk about the opportunity that people can have if they step up and lead and shit like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
In your meetings and stuff. Yeah. I mean, I just put it out there a lot. You know what I mean? What you're looking for. To be honest, you need it to grow. You can't, you're one dude. So there's so much you can do. So I think some people hesitate to own that piece. I know that's not you, but you know what I mean? Openly talking about it.
Like, it's me, but maybe it is.
I don't know. I put it out there a lot. You know what I mean? And then it's like, hey, here's what we need help with. Hey, if someone, and I would do it in story fashion in the sense of what I did to help my mentor, things I stepped up and took over, and what that allowed me to get in return because he saw me helping him. He gave to me more. You know what I mean? And it worked in combination to where we eventually became partners in like not physically like shared bank account partners, but like we ran, even though we were two separate, the hierarchy we ran it together.
Yeah. That's Derek and I.
Yeah.
That's always been Derek and I.
That can be fucking deadly, dude.
Yeah.
So I love it.
All right. Well, I feel better. Yeah. I think.
Challenge some people, dude. You know what I mean?
I will.
Put it out there. And highlight the people that are doing the things different than the rest. You know what I mean? Say, like, point it out. Be like, yo, Derek stepped up doing this. He stepped up doing that. Hey, I appreciated that. Like, the more it's weird. The more you put it out there, more people will be like, oh, really? Like, I'll give you an example. It's stupid, but it works.
Okay.
Like, when I was new, people always have a hard time going like, I'm like, I tried to add value to people that I was seeking to learn from. And a lot of people struggle with that. Like, how do I add value in? I don't even know what the hell I'm doing. And I can remember early on when like Mike would run meetings and he'd have a bunch of agents in, and we'd have 30, 40, 50 agents in the office throughout the day, and they'd come in, make phone calls, book appointments. And then we'd have a training for a couple hours. And afterwards some went home, some continue to dial throughout the night or whatever. But at the meeting, when you put 40, 50, 60 agents in a room with a bunch of chairs to watch a training for 2 hours, at the end of the 2 hours, all the chairs are disorganized. Like, they're not where they were when you walked into the room all neat. People's trash is on the floor. They leave their coffee cups. They leave their bags of chips. They just leave their shit behind, dude. It's really weird. Yeah. Or you put things on the whiteboard and you do examples and no one thinks to erase it. No one thinks to like refill the paper towels in the bathroom or the kitchen. You know what I mean? Like little stuff like that. And I would watch Mike afterwards always doing this stuff. And I'm like, literally no one stays to help. So I started helping with shit like that. I was new, but I'm like, I can organize chairs. Like, that seems simple. You know what I mean? And I would just do things that helped him take some burden off of him. You know, I did that with my kids. The way I became like the 9th string assistant coach in Maddox's baseball teams until this past year is every time there was a practice, I would go shag balls and bring the buckets of balls to the coach so they could keep hitting. I just did the dumb shit. I made sure the kids had helmets and knew who was. I just did like the nonsense.
Yeah.
You know, and they were like, yeah. And they'd be like, dude, do you want to be a coach? I'm like, yeah, but I can't teach the kids anything other than like here. I don't know how to teach baseball, but I'm in. Right. I was like the dugout coach for like 12 years, 10, 8, whatever, till he was 12, not 12 years, till he was 12. And I did the same thing with Mike, you know? And so I would share that, him and I would share that story so often, things that I was doing. I remember the first time we had these sales meetings, right? And you do them. You have little meetings and you have your big, you know, people speak and you have an event, maybe you have lunch, maybe you don't, you do whatever. And we would have these quarterly meetings and they'd be at a hotel setting. You know, you get a stage and you get the sound and you get whatever, maybe a lunch thing, this, that, and the other. And one time, the first time I go up to Mike and I hand him a check for $1,000. And he looked at me like I was a damn alien. He's like, what's this for? I'm like, dude, I'm not confused. This wasn't free. And I have agents here that you're training. Like, without this, my agents don't learn anything.
Right.
And he goes, dude, I've been doing this at that point. He'd probably been doing it like probably 4 years. He goes, dude, you're the first person to ever give me a check for a meeting. And I was like, I mean, I know you paid it out of your pocket.
Right.
And I appreciate it. You know what I mean? Just a simple gesture stood out to him like crazy. You know, we would just share things. And people always wondered why we were so close. Like, why John? Why is it John? It was like John and Mike. Everything was John and Mike, John and Mike, John and Mike.
Right.
And so we would share it. Well, here's why. I tried to add value to him. He added value to me, and it just worked really seamlessly. He was good at things I sucked at, and vice versa. He was patient as shit, really good with people, and I'm not either of those. And the dynamic worked well. And that gave people a path to find some type of leadership if they wanted it in our space. You know what I mean? So maybe find that in your world and just shit because you have it with some of the guys.
Right.
You know, I think some people just feel like they can't enter that zone, or like there's an invite that they're waiting for. Like you're going to send them an Evite card next week if they do. You know what I mean? I just don't think they know is what I've learned, which sounds weird, but I've seen it.
It makes sense. You're right.
You know,
I appreciate it.
Who knows? Maybe it helps.
It does. I appreciate it. I needed you today. Thanks.
Yeah,
Missed you last week, so.
Yeah. I should have. I didn't plan that very well. But I'm glad we're back.
Good.
What else you got, dude?
Well, I think that's the best podcast people need to listen to.
Okay. I love it.
I think that we should call it right there. I do have a lot of things I want to tell you.
But, okay.
But we'll get them on the next one.
All right, brother. We'll end there. All right. Appreciate y'all.